going to open it up and just say rebound. Okay. We just talked about the fight that we had in the locker room and how this team just fights. And we fought all regular season. And the consistency, though, we use that word, the consistency, but it's not for a lack of want to. Um, but there were things that today we needed to do. And 21 second chance points was the difference. And that's really it. I mean, in a game with where I know all the attention, is on one particular player, I thought our defense did well. I thought Jaden Simmons, who had the assignment early, I thought our traps, and we were trying to put Juju in a wall. You saw that work. Our first shot defense was phenomenal, but it was just those second and third opportunities, 21 second chance points to 0. And that's just where we have to continue to grow. That's a will and a want to. It doesn't matter height. It's positioning, it's physicality, it's all these different things. It's whatever you need to do to win. And the beauty of it is we talked about the third season. And the third season is in Vegas. And we've seen every team. We've been in pretty much every game. And so now to go and let the madness begin, you got to put it all together. You can't wait. You can't have lulls. You can't have single-digit quarters. All 5 players on the court at the time have to be moving on the same beat, same rhythm, same strength. But this is a group that's still hungry. This is a group that's still growing in every way. And so obviously we never want senior night to be like this. And I looked at our seniors as every one of the younger players did and said thank you. But we also said we're not done yet. And so we will continue to fight. That's the beauty of our team. And I love our team because they learn real time. They learn and want to get better. They're not okay with this as well. And so we will go back, we'll watch film. We don't know who we're going to match up against on Wednesday. Games have to conclude today. But when we find out, we will be ready to compete no matter who it is. But we have to get better at the little things that we talked about. And we need to improve that Wednesday.
So, for Coach, ASU's final Pac-12 matchup at Desert Financial Arena is over, and what are you looking to achieve as you travel to Vegas for the tournament?
Well, it's a new season. Having been in multiple seasons over these 26 years, anything happens, right? I know what it's like to win a conference championship. You know what it's like to walk up that ladder and cut down the nets, okay? But to do it, your margin for error is 0. Anything goes, but it doesn't. No one has leverage going into conference tournaments. It's 0-0. What it is you learn. What did you learn throughout the regular season, and how do you apply that opening night? Because it's win in advance. There's no do-overs. So what we learn is just all of what our team has grown, how we compete. But there are specifics. We have to be better at rebounding. Right, we have to be better at field goal percentage and shot selection, giving up the good shot for the great, understanding where we want to score, and then defensively. I think our first shot defense has been phenomenal pretty much all year, but it's the second and third chance opportunities. So those are immediate areas where we know and the team knows. Trey is not hearing me say it for the first time. But what I absolutely love is a locker room that's still fighting. It's a locker room that's still hungry. This time of year, outcomes can determine just how hard teams compete, right? That's not going to change how hard we compete. We want to go to Vegas and we want to win a Pac-12 championship, and that is the goal. But it starts Wednesday. And we want to stay. We're packing, right? Coach Sanchez said she was packing, for the whole duration. But, you just learn. In this part, you can't skip steps when you're teaching. You can't skip steps in the process. You have to understand the players on the floor and who they are and how much they have grown. But to accomplish what we want to accomplish, we have to get better at the things that we just discussed.
Do you feel, offensively this game that, and you've talked about obviously the single point quarters and winning those, and you did, but just maybe from the last half of the first quarter throughout the game, this was kind of the most consistent flow that the offense is within moving the ball that you've seen all season?
Well, we talk about player movement, ball movement, and patience. Sometimes we just want to score so quickly, but we haven't made the defense work. So in our spread offense, motion offense, we tell them, let it change sides. Make the defense work. Get the shot that we want, and the shot is right there in that mid range because their bigs aren't coming up. A lot of bigs in the league, they want to be rim protectors, and so if you can force the switch, you can force the mismatch, and that's just reps, right? It's like rinse, lather, repeat. How you wash your hair, you just have to rep it over and over again. And so that was one thing we really emphasized and walked through today. And I think the players responded, just be patient, give up, don't be so eager. Now, if we're in transition, and that was the reverse for us, we were in transition, then we pulled it out. No, that's when you go. And so just understanding transition points versus half-court execution, and just the matchups that we want. But it was better today, yes.
Coach, obviously the focus still on the postseason, what's still left to be had in this year.
Yeah.
But just reflecting with the regular season being over, just what is your kind of thoughts on the steps you're taking to where you want to build your team?
Well, I mean, I think we're building. I mean, you see it, for us, right? We tripled our win total from a year ago. We're better than we were a year ago. Our players are growing up. But people have to remember, this is a team that, I just finished with, 4 sophomores and a freshman on the floor. We had one returning senior that played all year. So you have to understand, on the bench this year was 50 points. I'd take 20 of those 50 right about now, right? So I think you have to, I know we all want that immediate button. We want it to happen overnight. That's not reality, and that's not how it works when you're building. But what you see is the growth in Trey sitting next to me from a year ago to now, right? Double-digit score, consistent score, leader, point guard, combo guard, whatever guard kind of you want, right? And you see it throughout. Look at Mallory Miller, right? So for me, I like to celebrate the growth, the small victories. Journey Thompson, right? She was sidelined last year. We can go on. Khadijah Torre. You just look at the growth. Sandra Magalico today, right? Hadn't logged a lot of minutes, right? She was really great in rebounding, in transition. So all of these players, Addison Novosel, every time she comes in the game, there's not a drop off. She had to guard Juju today, right? She never probably in a million years thought that she was going to have that assignment, but she didn't back down from it. And so I can go up and down the stat sheet, but Jaden Simmons, Isadora Sousa, right? Maggie Besselink, when she was on the court before she got injured, they've been the ones that have logged so many minutes. And, for our seniors, I just wanted more for them than anyone. But I'm proud of our growth. I'm excited about what's to come. See, the beauty of this is now she becomes a junior, and she has experience. This team was very heavy in grad transfers, not even seniors, right? So there's a level of growth and maturity through experience. And this is what our young group is gaining. So the future is absolutely bright.
How do you play in the words the magnitude of a player like Jaden Simmons?
As far as?
It's just the impact she's having this week.
Oh my gosh, how much time do we have? I mean, she's someone that she doesn't get enough credit, right? Because she comes in every day and she works. She's so consistent, right? She's super steady. She'd be really good at like poker or chess, right? You never know. She doesn't get too high and too low. But for a player to come in, coaching change, right? Decided to stay, committed to me, to our program, to our vision, and never wavered, right? That speaks to her character, her integrity, her loyalty. And, every coach would be honored to have a player like Jaden and a person.
Yeah, it seemed like today, met a little more to her, and I saw her kind of check out of that game that final time.
Well, it's hard, right?
Yeah.
The last time that well, not really. I mean, we don't know, but today could be the last time that she plays here at DFA in front of her fans, in front of her family. The beauty is we don't know what the future holds, but we honor the time that she's had here, and we want to continue to honor the time in that uniform while we still have time to play.
Trey being an underclassman and having players like Izzy as well as Jaden and just kind of that senior group, how do you feel like that's going to help you kind of move into this leadership role that you've had this year on this team?
I feel like I just learned a lot from them. Like, for me, since I am young, like, I just want to learn from our seniors, of course. And Izzy, I started out Izzy. She's just like I learned a lot from her on and off the court. On the court, IQ wise, like, you know, she started using the behind the back pass. I started using that. Like, I
We
picked
saw that today, by the way. It was between the legs.
Like, I just pick up on like little things from her. Jaden, like, I'm trying to be like her. You know, steady. You know, never get too high, never get too low. But they're just great leaders and role models for me.
How is it to, maybe for both of you, to know that you have, you know, a person like Ty Skinner coming back, and then also you and Ice being kind of the leaders in terms of point production so far as underclassmen, and being able to, you know, translate that into next year?
Well, that's what it was supposed to look like. I mean, think about it. If it was all supposed to go according to plan, there would have been a lot more veterans, a lot more offense, a lot more versatility, but we can't control that. The beauty is now the younger players have more experience to now be on the floor, you know, with veterans. And I'm excited to see how it all looks, but that's how it was designed to look in the beginning. So just looking forward to it. As long as they're healthy. The biggest thing is them getting healthy, not rushing it. We have time for them to heal and come back. But again, I said the future is going to be bright.
And on the aspect of injuries, you've had to navigate, it seems like the past 2 years, maybe more than any coach in women's college basketball. How does that weigh on you, and how do you just work through that as a coach?
Well, I mean, it's not ideal, right? We know that because again, when you have a plan and you go recruit and you know what it's supposed to look like and you know what you need to compete. See, I think the evaluation is, did we identify and have what we needed? Yes, without a doubt. But we can't control what happened, and so what happens is you just coach the team however it is, and that's where I think our team has been resilient, where our young players have stepped up and been ready for the call. You know, my heart goes out to the players who are Maggie, to Ty, because you know how bad they want to be out there. I mean, they're chomping at the bit. You have to literally hold Ty back in the games and in practice. But what I love is that for her, she's learned the game differently. Ty is used to having the ball in her hands, but now I think it's helping her become a better leader. Communicating, I know she's always talking with Trey, but really everyone, just about what she sees, just strategies, and just really diving into the game from an IQ perspective, from a leadership perspective. All of that's going to translate on the court. And that also builds trust and confidence in each other. So every opportunity, whether it's a good one or a bad one, or one that you can control or not, you learn from it. So I think for me, I'm always going to look at the situation on how it can be positive and how I can teach them about life. Because there's no perfect life. There's no perfect situation. And we can either hang our head and complain about it, or we can look it head on and say, you know what, I'm going to attack it. And so my job is not just to coach them, it's to be the example for them. And so they're always going to see me ready, competitive, with a positive demeanor, and figure out what's the solution and how to fix it. And so they heal, and then they're healing every day. We get to see Ty shooting the shooting drills now. We get to see her running up and down the court. And so we know what's coming. But I'm just I'm impressed with the youth of our team and the maturity of our team, how they've handled this adversity.
Coach, what are some of, like, when we talk about experience and growth, and maybe both of you can speak on this,
Yeah.
What can you take away from last year's experience in the Pac-12 tournament in terms of lessons learned or ways that you can grow from that as well, and how you instill that on your players as well?
Last year in comparison to this year, or?
Yeah, in terms of what can you grow from that, and like how do you look at that in terms of analyzing that and evaluating that?
Well, I think last year, it's no comparison from last year to this year. I don't. Last year was just a blur, if you will. I don't really think that we were still trying to figure out who we were. We were still trying to figure out the health and new coach, new transition. I think this year you can see Coach A's style of basketball more. I think you can see the competitiveness more. I think you can see the vision of what I want for our team and where we want to go more players are healthy from a year ago. And so I just think that our fans get to see just what it looks like. What I take from it, you get to play in the best league in the country. Obviously it's surreal. Just kind of what's going on, and even talking to the refs, everyone's realizing this is the last, home Pac-12 game. That's the hard part. But I think for our team to be able to say that, we've competed and we've grown and we're amongst the best, it just gives them a positive outlook on what's to come. So I just think the growth, the competitiveness, because again, you play on this stage, you can play against anyone and you can compete against anyone. And so I'm excited about the growth more than anything in each individual player. They do a phenomenal job in practice and working and understanding the game. They're ready, they're locked in every day. This is a group that you want to go to practice, you want to be around them. You know that they are excited and eager. We have fun outside of game day. And so that's the other sign of a coach, that we're building the culture that we want. They care about their teammates, they care about their sisters. So adversity is a part of life. You will never escape adversity, but it's how you learn from it, how you grow from it, and that actually brings people closer together. So this is a group that will continue to have a chip on their shoulder because they know what's inside of them. And as we continue to grow and continue to build this core group, it's going to be exciting to watch.
You talk about the surrealness of this being the Pac-12 home game and things like that. When you wanted to come to ASU and be a part of this conference.
And coach in the Pac, right?
Yeah, like from being a part of this game for so long, what was it about the Pac-12 that made it just so incredible?
Well, it was the best. Honestly, you get to coach alongside of Hall of Famers, icons, champions, and you knew you were going to be challenged as a coach. You knew you were going to be pushed as a coach. You knew you were going to be able to recruit the best players in the country to play on the biggest stage. And for me, having coached at every level, right? This was the box that I wanted to check and win a national championship on the highest level. And to be able to do it, you had to be there. And so it doesn't change. Because again, even moving conferences, we still have some of the Pac with us. And we still are going to be on a national stage, but it won't be the Pac. And what I love is even the coaches, as we're moving to different conferences, we're constantly talking, hey, can we keep the games going? Can we keep the single home and home contest going? And you are going to see a lot of that, where teams aren't going to lose just those relationships and those games, especially regionally. And that's one thing as head coaches we are trying to keep, whether it's a single game in the non-conference next year, 2 games in the non-conference, you will see old Pac-12 teams, compete throughout, because that's something we don't want to lose.
Any more questions?
I have one more question. So, for both of you that you can answer on, I know it's senior day, and I'm curious to know what are your favorite memories with the senior class, and what are you going to miss the most about them?
Gosh, I think there's so many memories of them individually. And I don't even know if they're basketball related. I mean, Izzy, we call her Gigi because she's grandma. But I think you all don't see her wit, and she's super funny. I think just interacting with all of them more on a personal level, like knowing just who they are and knowing their personalities and watching them grow. Like for Izzy's super funny. Like she's always, joking around in practice and she's keeping the mood light, but she's always someone I can go to and say, hey, I need to get a message to the team, or I need to talk to the team. And she just has a way, her maturity, but also watching her fight to come back. It lets you know who she is as a person, because she was supposedly sidelined. And then, just worked her tail off to get back on the court. And look, I mean, fan favorite, the 3-ball when she's throwing them up, just that's her personality. And she may not be the loudest in the room, but she is one of the most intentional in the room. Maggie Besselink, even though she still has, years to return, her fight and her will, I think she's found her voice. She was super quiet early and maybe not as confident, but when she walks in the room, she lights up every room. She cares about every person on her team and just her passion for this game, So I'm excited about her return and her growth. Jaden Simmons, I call her the quiet assassin. She, again, another one that may not be the loudest in the room, but she works hard. She is not afraid to work. She's blue collar. Another one, like they all just care about one another. And so bottling all of those intangibles up is super important. I didn't even mention, Treasure, and I know we hadn't seen Treasure for just some other reasons, but Treasure is still an integral part of our team. You all may not see her on the court, but she's in the locker room talking to the group. She's cheering them on. And so just the way they rally around one another, just the way they support one another, I think that is part of how we're building this culture. And so there's so many memories on and off the court, but the biggest memory is just how they have rallied around one another and really been great examples for their team. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
And you all, thank you for your coverage. Thank you for always telling such amazing stories. I really feel like you all share our team. And even though it's not wins and losses, you all capture each individual player. The amount of stories that's shared and the players and the parents that are retweeting the stories or just talking about how the pieces really represent each player, our program. I know it's not always easy to do, to find a positive, in the outcome that's not favorable, but you all have. And I would be remiss if I didn't say thank you to each and every one of you all, and know that how much I value and appreciate just all of your hard work for our team and our program. So thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.